All right, Mayor, we got a program, so be patient with us. All right. It's been a long time coming. Hi, everybody. My name is Phil Ginsberg. I'm the general manager of your San Francisco Recreation and Park Department, and it's about time. It's really happening. It's really happening. If you look over my right shoulder, you can see all the work that's already started on our pathway to environmental justice and joy and community and resiliency. But before we jump into our program, we want to do a couple of things. And the first is we want to acknowledge that the land we are currently standing on is the unceded ancestral homeland of the Ramaytush Ohlone people. As stewards of parkland, our department recognizes the duty to honor the Ohlone through thoughtful and informed preservation and interpretation of ancestral land. As uninvited guests, let us all affirm their sovereign rights as First Peoples and pay our respects to the ancestors, elders, and relatives of the Ramaytush community. Thank you. Just a few hours ago, our Recreation and Park Commission, and I see numerous commissioners here, including President Buell, Commissioner Hallisey, Commissioner Anderson, and probably a few others that I'm not seeing behind the crowds, passed a Ramaytush Ohlone land acknowledgement. And I want to thank Greg Castro and Jonathan Cordero from the Ramaytush Ohlone Association who worked with our department in the crafting of this acknowledgement. You should please join me in thanking our amazing entertainers for their performances prior to the program. First, Jinheng International Wushu Tai Chi Group, give it up. The Samoan Community Development Center dancers. Lion Dance Me. And following the program, there will be a performance by Faline Finesse. We have a lot of partners that I want to acknowledge before I turn it over to our MC. First of all, Mayor Breed, thank you. Thank you for believing in this project. Thank you for pushing for it. Thank you for supporting it. The A. Philip Randolph Institute. Jackie Flynn is going to be your MC, and I'm going to turn it over to her in a few minutes. I want to thank our EDP Leadership Committee. What's an EDP Leadership Committee? This project is like no other. We're not just renovating a park. We're trying to work hard to understand what the community needs to thrive in this space, so it is yours. And there are several EDP members. I see Oscar James, Michael Wong, Jill Fox here. So I want to thank a few of the EDP members and for all your effort in guiding us, not just in how to build this park, but to make sure it's really for this community. I want to thank the Trust for Public Land. Alejandra Chiesa is here. I want to thank the San Francisco Parks Alliance. Drew Becker is here and numerous members of his team. We have several representatives from our city family. I saw Ken Nim, I saw Carol Eisen. There may not be a city department that isn't working on this in some way, shape, or form. I want to acknowledge our partners across the basin from Build Inc. I see Lou Vasquez here. Lou, thank you for being here. I want to give a special recognition to a guy standing right in front of me. John, thank you. John Pritzker, whose courageous philanthropy has turned this from a dream and a vision actually into a project. So thank you, John. Let's give him a round of applause. Thank you, Mo. John and Mo were recently married just a few days ago, and they came back early from, Mo doesn't call it really a honeymoon, it was a camping trip, but they came back early to be here with us today. So thank you both very, very much. This project has many people rooting for it. It's gotten private philanthropy, it's gotten local bond money through the leadership of our mayor and San Francisco voters. It's also gotten a lot of money from the state of California. Senator Weiner, Assemblyman Chu, thank you so much for your leadership in making it happen. This project has even gotten federal money. We got money from the EPA, we've gotten money from the Costco-Busan settlement, we've gotten anywhere there's money, we're trying to raise it for this project, and it's actually starting to work out. Today's groundbreaking is the culmination of 7 years of planning outreach and fundraising on a project that will finally address decades of pollution and environmental degradation in a neighborhood that once helped drive the economy of San Francisco during World War II. After the decline of Butchertown, the decommissioned shipyards and the forced removal of the Chinese shrimping villages, India Basin was shut down and left to decay. The remediation work, which we're kicking off right now, will restore public access to the shoreline and create a robust wildlife habitat, laying the foundation for a new $140 million park in the heart of the Bayview. This cleanup phase of the project is led by the Bayview's own Rubicon Builders, whose offices are located just down the road on 3rd Street. Hiring Rubicon's team highlights a key goal of the India Basin Waterfront Project to serve as a cultural anchor for equitable and inclusive economic growth, which includes providing workforce and business opportunities for all Bayview Hunters Point residents, regardless of income, race, or demography. Another component of the remediation work depends on first source hiring, which gives economically disadvantaged individuals the first opportunity to apply for entry-level jobs in San Francisco. The program is administered by OEWD. You'll probably hear a little bit more about that, but thank you, Ken, thank you, OEWD, for your incredible partnership. Lastly, remember that this project is only made possible as much money from government as we've been able to obtain for this project. It's only made possible through substantial public-private partnerships. Some of our partners, like TPL and the Parks Alliance, have been working on this for years. Others, like APRI, arguably even longer, and have now stepped into new and indispensable roles to move this project. I want to thank everyone for their support. So I'm now going to turn the program over to one of the leaders of this project, Jackie Flynn. Jackie has been working on this thing for I don't know how long and has been a community advocate for even longer. She is my colleague, my partner, along with Drew and Allie and their organizations on this project, and she is making sure that this community is involved in every single aspect of what happens next. Thank you, Jackie.
Thank you, Phil, and welcome. First of all, I want to say welcome back, San Francisco. It's so nice to see everyone and see your faces, and thank you so much, Mayor, for your leadership on getting our city back and up and running. My name is Jacqueline Flynn. I'm the Executive Director of the A. Philip Randolph Institute, and I'm your MC today, so I wear many hats in this community. And my small organization, APRI, I want to thank my team because I could not do this work without an amazing, supportive cast. So thank you, my team at APRI. I have the pleasure of also serving as the Equitable Development Plan Manager on this project. And ultimately what that means is for every step of the way on this project, we want to make sure we're looking through a lens of equity and thinking about building back within our community and making sure we're supportive of the existing community. And you know, as we continue to invest in this park, I want to make sure that those investments actually make it and impact the families that I work with every day. As we kick off this year's Juneteenth, I've been inspired by our ancestors, and thank you so much, Brother Clint, for acknowledging, you know, all the adversities that folks before us have overcome to be here and the fights that they've won and lost. We are the next generation of that legacy, and I'm very proud to stand behind so many folks before me. This park is very near and dear to my heart. My office is literally a block away. And as you all know, as a community leader, I've been here over 20 years. I used to knock on doors to get folks to vote. I still do it now. But really what I'm interested in is making sure this next generation is inspired to do the same and be leaders in their community. You know, I see how much this project can impact this community right behind me. So I also want to acknowledge all the folks that live on this hill that have been here for generations. And it's so important that this park is being built for our residents. So I'm excited to say this is just the beginning, and we have a wonderful brief program. So I'd like to introduce our first speaker, Mayor London Breed. Mayor London Breed is a San Francisco native, definitely raised by her grandmother in Plaza East in Fillmore, Western Addition, but definitely roots here in San Francisco. and she was elected as the first African-American woman and second woman in San Francisco's history to serve as mayor. She's been re-elected to her first full 4-year term in November of 2019. I know we lost a year in this last year, but we are gonna keep pushing. Mayor Breed is a tireless advocate for all San Franciscans and helps lead our city through a very tumultuous time as we help to rebuild this great city and come out of that terrible pandemic. So without further ado, welcome Mayor London Breed. Welcome, Mayor.
Hello, everyone. First of all, Phil, I don't know why we have to subject these kids to this when there's a park right over there. Are you guys gonna be able to play in the park? No? What's going on? They're supposed to be having a good time this summer.
They played enough when we got here.
Okay, well, if any time during this event you want to take them over to the park, feel free to do so because we want them to have a good time. It's been a long year for our kids in this city, and it's time for them to have fun again. I'll start by saying, yes, I'm from Fillmore. But I do have roots in the Bayview Hunters Point community. In fact, my grandfather worked at the shipyard. He was in the Navy at a time when there was segregation, and he worked with what was considered a colored group of men. And I find it quite interesting that in our not so distant past, the level of discrimination that existed in this city. You know, what's interesting is my grandfather served in the shipyard in a segregated unit, and now today, his granddaughter, the first Black woman mayor of San Francisco, signed an official declaration after the president declared it a national holiday. I declared it a holiday in the city and county of San Francisco. Juneteenth is an official holiday for all of our city employees. I'm not saying don't go to work tomorrow. I'm saying for those essential services, we still need you to go to work, but you do get a holiday in lieu. You're welcome. You're welcome. No, not you're welcome, Mayor. You're welcome, Black people. So let me just start by saying thank you. Phil Ginsburg, I want to just say to you, because let me tell you, when Phil came to me with this project, I'm like, Phil, well, what about, you know, some of the other parks in the Bayview Hunters Point? And we talked about our plans around, you know, retrofitting a number of parks, what was important to the community. And I thought about it for like really long and hard, because at the time I was supervisor for District 5 and Malia Cohen was supervisor here in the Bayview Hunters Point community. And this community pushed hard for a change because of the environmental contamination that took place here, because of what was happening all along this area. I think about the many people who had asthma in the Bayview Hunters Point community, cancer, and other ailments because of the environmental injustices that have existed in this community. It is so fitting and about time that we clean up India Basin. We clean it up. And just a couple of weeks ago, I was just at the power plant where we broke ground on what will be 2,600 units here at a polluting, dirty power plant that former Supervisor Sophie Maxwell led the charge on shutting down. And here we are connecting this Bayview community, India Basin, and the power plant, and all of this beauty together in a way like never before. You know, it is amazing also that this community decided what was best for them. And that was really important, making sure the India Basin Task Force of residents, of people who lived here, provided input. And cleaning up a place like this is expensive, and making it beautiful is even more expensive. So I am incredibly thankful to the voters who time and time again passed propositions to allow us to invest in parks. I am grateful to people who just, are amazing San Franciscans like John Pritzker and his family for committing this money. Many of things he could have committed this $25 million to, the largest parks contribution in the history of this city. He said he wanted that to support the Bayview Hunters Point community. So we are so grateful to you, John. We are grateful to the Parks Alliance and the Land Trust and so many organizations for helping to work to see this project through. It does take a village. It does take $140 million to do exactly what the community wants to see here in India Basin. And I also want to take this opportunity to thank Governor Newsom and thank Senator Scott Weiner and David Chu and Phil Ting for their support on the state level. It was a $25 million commitment. And we still have a few ways to go, but we are committed to cleaning up this area so that those kids you saw right here can play freely and safely and not be concerned about their health. That is what is most critical for us, is transforming this beautiful waterfront and making it what this community deserves. And so I'm really excited about this, and I cannot wait until we are able to see it through. It's gonna be absolutely beautiful. We've seen the pictures, but it's nothing like seeing it in person. Connecting the Bayview Hunters Point all the way around the waterfronts of San Francisco to the Golden Gate Bridge. Now, you know what the marina looks like? That's what the Bayview Hunters Point is about to look like. With green and structures and all the amenities that this community so deserves. So, congratulations to this community for your hard work and your effort and sticking to it and staying together. We know that the challenges that exist specifically for the Bayview Hunters Point and the African American community in this city and this country still persist. But in me, you have a leader who is committed to transforming that. And I want to make sure that everyone in this city, no matter what your race is, understand that when we see injustices anywhere, it is clearly, as Dr. King would say, a threat to justice everywhere. Everywhere it is a threat, and it's up to all of us to take it upon ourselves to push aggressively for change. So thank you in joining me for change in India Basin. Congratulations to the Bayview Hunters Point community, and let's get this project going.
Thank you, Mayor. Before I give it back to Jackie yet again, just a couple of more thank yous and acknowledgements. Alex Walker, thank you for being here on behalf of Assemblyman Phil Ting. Assemblyman Ting almost every year calls and said, what can I do for India Basin? And we really appreciate it. So thank you very much. Please thank him for us. Deputy Chief David Lazar, thank you for being here. I already acknowledged Carol Eisen. I want to acknowledge the co-chairs of the Bayview Alliance. Talk about coalition building and trying to pull people together to do good. Thank you, Sissy Swig. Thank you, Chuck Collins, for all of your work and support and counsel on this project. I know that Jamie Bruning-Miles, the current CEO of the YMCA, is here, and the Y is going to be partnering with us on one of our very first equitable development initiatives to teach all kids to swim and make sure that everybody feels safe around the water in this beautiful park from this neighborhood. And then I also want to acknowledge Dr. Nina Roberts, who's here from San Francisco State. She's been our academic advisor on our equitable development planning efforts. Nina, thank you very much for your support, and I turn it back to Jackie.
All right, thanks, Phil. And just before I get into our next speaker, I also want to acknowledge the leadership committee that has served on behalf of this community, committing their time and their vision to the project and making sure that the community voice is heard. So I see a few of them: Jill Fox, Oscar James, Chinamso Okori, Chika Mezi. I see a ton of you guys. Thank you guys again for your time on the project. And so next I'd like to introduce one of our assembly members, a neighbor in our community, and someone that I've known for the last decade, and he's worked extremely hard for the city of San Francisco. I'd like to introduce our assembly member of District 17, David Chu.
Thank you, Jackie. Good afternoon, San Francisco. We ready to play? All right. Let me first ask, the mayor referred to herself as a resident of the Fillmore. We got any residents of the Hunters Point Bayview here? All right, this is our day. Let me first start by just thanking, it takes a village to do this. And it takes the leadership of a mayor working with amazing departments and an amazing rec and park department, working with the private sector, working with philanthropy, working with civic partners, working at the federal and state level. And I just want to thank you for that. As the mayor was talking, I was thinking 13 years ago when I was on the Board of Supervisors, I had a conversation with then Supervisor Sophie Maxwell, and she said, you know, David, the Southeast neighborhoods are forgotten, and we don't invest in these neighborhoods. And a couple years later, I remember having a conversation with Supervisor Malia Cohen, and she said, you know, David, the city forgets about the Southeast neighborhoods and doesn't invest in us. Well, today, the city hasn't forgotten these neighborhoods, and the city is investing in India Basin. And I just want to share my own engagement in this started when Phil Ginsburg invited me and I think then Supervisor-elect Shamal Walton to come to India Basin. Phil, you'll probably remember this, and we didn't know what we were coming to see. And we got here and he looked to me and said, hey, Chu, I need a couple $1 million. So I said, all right. And Scott Weiner and Phil Ting and I, we got together, and 1 year in the budget, we said, okay, Phil, we got $4 million for you. And then Ginsburg said, we need another $8 million. So I said, okay, all right, 68 money, we'll get another $8 million. And then he said, we need another $25 million. And then we asked, well, how much does this darn thing cost? We all know the answer to that. But let me also say, a week after that conversation right here, I was sitting in room 200 with Mayor Breed. And she said, and I think this is one of those 1-2 things. She said, David Chu, have you heard about this project called India Basin? And I said, yeah, Madam Mayor, I have. Well, we're making this a priority. And I just have to say, Mayor Breed, thank you for your leadership. I think, but for you, and I know Supervisor Walton and Phil Ginsburg and so many folks here, you are the village that is making this happen. So thank you. Let me just end with one thing. So I am a resident. I live about 10 minutes from here, and I moved to the Southeast neighborhoods the day my son was born 5 years ago. And we moved here in part because I believe that the future of San Francisco is reflected in the Southeast neighborhoods. If we can lift these neighborhoods up, there is no end to what our city will be about. And so the last thing I'll just say is there are a lot of folks who refer to this project as the Crissy Field of the Southeast. And I'm going to say that by the time my kid is a teenager, I think Crissy Field is going to be referred to as the India Basin of the North. All right? And with that, have a wonderful afternoon. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much, Assembly Member Chu. I'd like to take this time to, we have a few changes to our program, but it's okay. We always make adjustments. I just want to make a couple more acknowledgements before we continue to move forward. We have additional park commissioners here. Our president, Mark Buell. I'd like to acknowledge our president of the commissioner here, and also Eric McDonald. Like to acknowledge you guys. Thank you for all your work in serving for our Parks Commission. And before we move too much forward, one acknowledgement that we would not be here without the work that Supervisor Cohen did prior to moving into our state. So I just want to make sure that everyone acknowledges the work that our previous Supervisor Malia Cohen did. So let me go ahead and get to our next speakers. Please let me introduce Drew Becker of the San Francisco Parks Alliance and Guillermo Rodriguez of the Trust for Public Land. Our next two speakers are fellow partners in this incredible community project. Drew from the San Francisco Parks Alliance and Guillermo from the Trust for Public Land. Drew has served as the Chief Executive Officer for the San Francisco Parks Alliance since 2017. In 2018 alone, Drew led the organization as it completed 20 plus park projects, engaging over 100,000 plus residents in park programming, and helped raise over 20 million for capital projects across the city. Also helped celebrate the 150th year at Golden Gate Park. And then also Guillermo was appointed to our California State Director for Trust for Public Land in 2017. He brings over 20 years of successful nonprofit, private sector, and local government experience to the organization. Many people don't even know that Guillermo mentored me way back in the day. And he's responsible for developing, managing, and leading the Trust for Public Lands acquisition, park development, and policy activities throughout the state. Really, both organizations have immersed in the community, and they'll briefly share their role on the renovation project and the other work they're doing in the community. So come on up, you guys. Oh. It's okay, I'm Guillermo. Oh, okay. Okay. Okay, and just after them, I will call up another speaker, but come on in.
This is not Guillermo. This is Ali from Trust for Public Land. So everyone knows. We're gonna tag team here a little bit. My name is Drew Becker, the CEO of the San Francisco Parks Alliance. So exciting to be here today. We're all here because we love San Francisco, and we know it can be better. We've been doing that for 50 years at the Parks Alliance, and we're honored to be a part of this important project. India Basin is part of a larger project called the Blue Greenway. India Basin is the largest public investment as part of that Blue Greenway project. It is a large step forward on creating a more equitable city, and it is a part of a better, safer, more accessible Southeast side. Public-private partnerships are vital to success of public spaces and have been for decades. We are proud to partner with Trust for Public Land and also the Rec and Park Department to raise private funds and philanthropy for this project. We think that's truly important. All public spaces do better with a mix of funding. It shows commitment by the community, it shows a commitment by the leaders, and it shows commitment from the city, and it shows commitment from the state. So we're proud to be a part of that. The San Francisco Parks Alliance community engagement is at the heart of what we do. Grateful to the Bayview Hunters Point community for their continued involvement and advocacy for this world-class park, for which in a few months you're going to see the transformation of a basketball court up in India Basin Shoreline Park here, which will be transformed by artists with murals on it, similar to what happened at Hayward Playground. So that, I know the mayor knows that one pretty well. It'd be pretty cool when that happens here. I'd like to thank the Parks Alliance team on making this a reality. Maya Rogers, Maya, thank you so much. Thomas Namara, Philip Wynn, Denise Camp, Mark Hennon, Steve Fredericks, Sonia Gonzalez-Banks, and specifically our board of directors for their commitment to this project. I also want to thank the mayor and her leadership and the Bayview for steadfast support of the Parks Alliance and for her vision for San Francisco. We are proud to work with you, and I'm really excited to work with your team on making and reopening San Francisco. The investment in San Francisco's parks and public spaces have been extraordinary throughout this pandemic, and I think you saw that and all the residents saw that. And what you are doing as part of this reopening by investing in this park and others and supporting the Rec and Park Department and supporting other departments on our public projects and our public spaces is second to none. We support your vision 100%, and anything you need, we're behind you. Thank you, Mayor, so much. I also would like to thank President Shaman Walton and his team in the mission to build a more equitable San Francisco. I also want to wish everyone a happy Juneteenth. Thank you so much. Now I'm going to turn it over to Ali, my partner in crime on the nonprofit sector.
Hello, everyone. As you can see, I'm not Guillermo. He got stuck in traffic, so you got me. My name is Alejandra Chiesa. I'm the Bay Area Program Director with the Trust for Public Land, and as Jackie, I wear many hats. I've been deeply involved in this project and working in the neighborhood for years. Actually, Maya and I worked on Hilltop Park to see that happen before we started on this project. So I am so honored to be here celebrating this milestone with all of you today. At the Trust for Public Land, we believe that parks are essential for healthy communities. And parks should not have a nice to have amenity for a few, but a must have for all. we see that what is happening here at India Basin, we see it as a national model for how we should do parks throughout the nation. This project is not just about building an amazing park, which it will be amazing, but it's much more than that. As you heard, it is about equity. It's about investing in this community that has been suffering this investment for decades. It is about renewal and environmental justice. We're cleaning up a site and giving it back to the community so they can have access to this beautiful shoreline. Every time I come here and I look at this view, and it takes my breath away. So we need to make the shoreline better so everyone can enjoy this. This project is about opportunity. As Phil said, it's about giving opportunity to local businesses, workforce, and youth. It is about celebrating and honoring the Bayview Hunters Point community, their rich history, their arts, and the culture. And last but not least, it's about resilience and hope. This community fought really hard for change. They faced many injustices, and we're here starting to build the park they fought so hard to have. So, and this wouldn't have happened without all of you, without the many partners that have been mentioned. I want to acknowledge a few. Phil Ginsburg and his staff and the Rec Park Commission, amazing partners throughout this. Drew Becker, Maya Rogers with the San Francisco Parks Alliance, also amazing partners. Jackie Flynn and the APRI staff, having working tirelessly, you have seen them operating the tech hub and really fighting hard for this community. And then the many other groups that too many to mention, that have unwavering support for this. Of course, our elected leaders. Without you, Mayor Breed, Supervisor Walton, without Assembly Member Chu and Phil Ting and Senator Weiner, we wouldn't be here. As you heard, there's been a lot of investment in this project. Also, our funders, John Pritzker and his fund, for taking the risk. Same with the public funders. They took a risk. They invested. They believed in this community. And last but not least, I want to acknowledge again the Bayview Hunters Point community for their resilience and advocacy. Without you, we wouldn't be here. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ali. So you all, I made a quick mistake in the program. We always have different updates last minute, but I forgot to mention someone that has worked fearlessly in this community, and I don't know how I can miss him because he's probably one of the tallest folks out here. But I just would like to take a moment to welcome up our State Senator Scott Weiner for a few brief remarks on behalf of the project. Thank you so much for bearing with me as I adjust, and thank you for missing your name.
Thank you, Jackie. They don't like to bring me up because I mess up the microphone for everyone else. Story of my life. So I've been a huge fan of this project for a long time, and I remember, I think early in my time on the Board of Supervisors, some community folks asked me to come down. I came down, they're like, okay, we know it doesn't look awesome right now. There's a lot of sort of neglected areas, but we have a vision. And I am just so proud of this community for coming together and moving that vision forward. And then I also had an opportunity to have some involvement when I was representing the Castro-Noe Valley Glen Park area on the Board of Supervisors, and we wanted to buy what is now the Noe Valley Town Square to turn it into a park. And in working with our advocates in Noe Valley and with Rec and Park, we decided, you know what? We don't want Noe Valley just to move forward. We want to make this about various parts of the city, and we want the Bayview to be involved. We want our southeastern neighborhoods to be involved, because this is a part of the city that has been neglected for so damn long, and we need to be there for all parts of this city and lift everyone up. And so we were able to acquire not just the Noe Town Square, but at the same time, that parcel right there, as well as a parcel south of Market. And it's just amazing. And Noe Valley Town Square, it's a much smaller, simpler project. It's done, and it has added so much to that community, but that pales in comparison to what India Basin is going to add to our southeastern neighborhoods. And we talk about it being like the marina. You know, let's think about the Embarcadero. I mean, taking a neglected part of the city and in terms of a park and a piece of land and turning it into just this amazing, inspirational place for people to be, and I know that that is what this is going to be. And we have a lot of other work to do around housing and making sure we can connect with transportation so people can get in and out of our southeastern neighborhoods more easily. But boy, having a world-class waterfront, beautiful park is just going to be a game changer. So congratulations, you'll have and I know Assembly Members Chu and Ting, you'll have our continued support in helping work to fund this project and to get it going. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Senator Weiner. A few more acknowledgements to my community. My friend, Maika Pinkston, and her organization From the Heart has been doing a significant amount of work here on the shoreline, connecting families to health resources and housing access. I just wanted to say thank you guys for your commitment on this project. And I've gotten Maika on our leadership committee as well, so that the voice of the community is truly heard on the project. So I do have one last speaker. Did you want to make a few remarks? I'm going to ask Maika to come up just for a couple of remarks before I bring up our last speaker. Come on.
Well, hello everyone. I'm Maika Pinkston. I'm the founder of From the Heart. It has been a pleasure working with APRI. I'll tell you, I don't trust many people. So, it has been beautiful. It has been beautiful. Phil, David, everyone has been really, really, really helpful to me and to our community, and I truly appreciate it. I know that this is in regards to a park. However, we have so many other things to address here. And I thank everybody. I thank the mayor, David, my God, everybody. We all gonna be a part of this because it's not just about this park. We can't have a park and people homeless. So, you know, I just want to say that, and I am here to help our community better ourselves. So I educate our community on living a healthy and natural lifestyle. You know, the police call me the boinger. I come with the healing so we can boing some of that good energy in. You know, I try to just keep us all on a positive page. If we can stay on a positive note, we're going to be all good, y'all. That's all I want to say is that let's just all stay positive. Let's heal together. And let's remember that it's going to take all of us, no matter what color we are, no matter what we do with ourselves, it's going to take each and every last individual here in this park and outside of this park to make everything that we want to happen look like the marina. It ain't going to just take a park. Okay? So that's what we need to remember. It's going to take everything that we have to rebuild Hunters Point. I'm born and raised here. So we got this. Let's do it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. And that's just one of the examples of making sure we make a commitment to this existing community and involve our residents as every step of the way as we go. There's one last speaker I'd like to invite up, and I've known this young man over the last, I want to say, 6 or 7 years we've been doing this work. Daryl Watkins came up in one of our youth programs, and after he finished our youth leadership program, he continued to come back and serve with our organization, volunteering for events, going door to door to pass out flyers for voting. And when the opportunity came around with our resource development firm, CCS, they were happy to bring on a fellow, and they wanted to make sure we made a commitment to this local community. And I was very proud when Daryl applied, and he actually scored one of the highest scores through the application process. And at the end of the day, I wanted to make sure that that opportunity went to someone that understood the legacy of what it was to grow up in this neighborhood, the generations that served many years before we got here, and I really am proud that I think he is going to be a great model for all the young people that you guys saw a little earlier. But he will be serving with our resource development team, really helping figure out how to come up with a strategy to fundraise, not just for the park, but equitable development, really investing back in this community. So without further ado, I know his parents are here, his sister's here, really excited. Daryl Watkins, please come on up.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you. My name is Daryl Watkins. Oh, sorry.
Step closer.
My name is Daryl Watkins. I'm an incoming junior at San Jose State University. I am excited and honored to accept this position, to be a part of this community, and to be a part of the CCS project. I want to first thank the APRI staff for the leadership development to prepare me for this opportunity. Next, I want to thank my family for always being here and supporting me. This park is a symbol of hope. It starts with us. I really want to help this community in different ways, and it starts with this park. Thank you. I want to encourage all youth of all ages and all races to help this community. So together, we can change how the Bayview looks. It starts with the youth, so when we get older, we can be in the same position that everyone else is. But thank you for your time.
All right, thank you so much, Daryl. And again, that's just one very small example of making sure that we invite our young people to participate on this project and build equity from within. So we're gonna just acknowledge a couple more folks from our MOHCD, Eric Shaw and Malik Looper. Thank you guys so much for coming. From OEWD and City Build, Ken Nim, our trades workers over here. And I wanna say thank you for Jessica Fontenot from coming out from our Success Center. Thank you so much. So we are going to go ahead and do the shovel ceremony. Just remember, like, our shovel ceremony is really a way to honor you know, not only the gift, but this is an opportunity for future prosperity and success on this project. So I've got a few folks that are going to be coming up to get a shovel in the ground.